The Full-Time Review Show is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental, and also by Craig International, who would like to wish all their colleagues and business partners in the United Arab Emirates a very happy National Day. And I'm delighted to say, for the next month or so, Steadfast Scotland will also sponsor ABTV, globally recognised as your market leader and solution provider for bespoke quality bolting and safety critical components. Welcome aboard, guys! These were the full-time scenes at Tynecastle yesterday. My thanks to Paul Donaldson for allowing me to use this footage, and as per norm, the team received a fantastic backing from the travelling support, despite drawing the game 1-1. Leighton Clarkson putting us ahead on 37 minutes, and an unfortunate Nicky Devlin own goal on 62 minutes meant that both sides shared the points. So what does it mean in terms of the table? So 4 points now behind Celtic. We've played a game in hand, and of course we have them next at Pittodrie on Wednesday night. Another huge game. Can we get back to winning ways? And what a game to do it with. Hello everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Monday night. I hope you're all doing just fine, and I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. So this is the Full-Time Review Show. You should by now know the drill. This is where you get your opportunity to tell me what you thought about yesterday's game, what you thought about the performance, and what you thought about the result. I will do my best to read out your comments as we go along tonight. Delighted to say our analyst, Andrew Budge, will be here a little bit later. He's going to break down the game for you, and he's got a couple of interesting notes to give you about where we could have done an awful lot better in the game. So I'm really looking forward to bringing that to you a little bit later. But I'm going to start, and I wouldn't normally do this because, personally, I think it's none of my business. And I'm not one for being overly critical of fellow fans. But I am going to stick my oar in tonight because I was surprised by, let's put it this way, a small section of our support being unbelievably downtrodden about our result yesterday. The negativity online is quite baffling. First and foremost, what is it? It's becoming laughable. We don't have a defined right to win every game. And secondly, my God, what do you want? Of course we want to win every game. That's a given. But it's not going to happen. And when a new manager comes in with a 3-year plan, that 3-year plan is not going to take 6 months. So everybody, not everybody, a few, just chill out. Good Lord above. It's really not that bad. What would you rather have? The style of football, the league position that we were in this time last year, or where we are now? Still only one league defeat all season, and it's 3 weeks from Christmas. Really? I just don't get it. Anyway, I've had my toppings, I've had my say. The team, wow. Didn't see that one coming. 6 changes. 6 from the Hibs game. A little doubt about Dimitar Mitov for Wednesday's game. Manager said after the game he needs careful consideration and assessment. Let's see. Angus came in, as did Magari. Ante came in. Shinza, the skipper, dropping down to the bench. Shaden started the game, as did Leighton Clarkson. Jamie McGrath out on the left-hand side. And Esther started the game with Kevin Nisbet dropping down to the bench. So it was a very bold move by the manager, I thought, but one not to overly complain about. Let's have a look at the match stats before we get Andrew on. So Hearts enjoyed 53.7% of possession to our 46.3. 8 shots in total, of which only 3 were on target. We achieved 6 corners in the game. And we will come on to this in just a moment with Andrew. But inside the opposition box, we had 19 touches in total. And it is significant why I put that stat up, because you're going to hear from Andrew now to why it was important. So just let me grab him for you. Where are you, dear boy? There you are. Right, so there's Andrew's piece there. Okay, so this is roughly 5 minutes long. So have a look, take a listen, let me know what you think, and I'll see you all on the other side. Welcome back to the show, Andrew Budge. Hi, Andrew. It's great to see you as always. Thank you so much for coming on. Right, before we get into the crux of what you want to talk about tonight in terms of the analysis, as I mentioned at the top of the show, have you also been a little bit surprised at the amount of negativity that has come our way, albeit from a small section of our support?
Yeah, I definitely have been surprised by it because, to be honest, our record at Tynecastle's been really poor in recent years. So usually you'd think that's a really good point to take away, to be honest. It was two really tired sides. You've just got to consider the impact of having 3 games in a week all away from home. So I think we just got to look back on the week and say we got 2 draws in games where we usually maybe wouldn't have got points from. So we've just got to carry on some momentum into Wednesday.
Yeah. Right, let's get into the analysis. So the first bit that we're going to look at is that you've picked out a couple of examples where it actually turned out to be quite a frustrating afternoon for Esther Sockler.
Yeah, I do have some sympathy for Esther Sockler, to be honest. Not only after being robbed of an iconic winner last week, but also he puts in a lot of running, and I'd say we maybe aren't playing to his strengths in some games. He made a number of really, really good runs in behind in the first half, which either weren't spotted or were ignored. In the first example, Nilsson has possession and he's got a lot of time in the ball. Hearts weren't really pressing us. And Sockler, as we can see, he's got his arm out. He makes a great run in behind, but just it's completely ignored. It's really frustrating. I appreciate it's not an easy pass to execute, but Nilsson's definitely got the quality to execute that pass. We saw in recent games, he had a great ball into Morris over the top. So I definitely think he's capable of executing that. We put the second example. Again, it's almost a near identical run from Sockler in behind. Hearts are holding a really high line in this case, which leaves a lot of space in behind for us to exploit. In the second example, Palversa has the ball. Again, isn't pressed. Look how much space he's got and look how much time he's got to pick his pass. And but unfortunately, we just don't hit that long ball, and I think it could be a good option for us. I was looking at some of the stats, the player stats on FotMob, and Palaversa's eighth highest, I think it is, in the league for completed long passes per game. So he's definitely got the ability to execute these passes, and it could be a really good way to mix up our game if we sort of find some of these runs from Sockler and behind. We've seen before goals against sort of Frankfurt last year. Also Celtic earlier this season. He's really good runner in behind, and if we can find him, we can definitely start mixing our game up and give opponents something else to think about.
Okay, let's also talk about Shaden Morris and the impact that he had, because again, getting balls into the box was absolutely prevalent. First of all, let's take a quick look at this graphic that's come up, because as I mentioned during the stats, 19 touches in the opposition box, but as this stat shows, Andrew, no touches inside the 6-yard box, which is quite telling, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And as you said, I thought Morris had a brilliant game. Again, he's what sort of running form he's on right now. Um, Again, very direct, had the beating of Rose all day long. He put a number of really, really dangerous crosses into the box, but unfortunately, we just didn't make the most of them. So what I think we were perhaps guilty of is maybe just not attacking with enough aggression or instinct in these sort of crossing opportunities. In the first one, Morris floats a really inviting cross to the back post, but no challenges for it. You can see circled, we've got Sockler and Devlin, and nobody's made that run into the 6-yard box and looks to challenge the Hearts defender, who's got a really sort of simple header away to clear. That's a great ball into the back post, and really someone should be committing to attack that. If you look at Devon and Soccer, they look pretty static, to be honest. So definitely one area we can improve in. Again, in the second example, more brilliant play from Morris down the line, jinking past rolls, putting a really dangerous sort of drilled ball across the goal line. But as you can see, it's Duke and Clarkson this time, and they're both kind of just on the edge of the 6 yard box, but nobody's made that nobody's gambled to make that sort of front post or back post run. That's where Hearts got their goal, was from a really dangerous run across the front post, which they scored from, albeit it was a bit of a fortunate deflection. But I really think we need to be, if we're getting to these great opportunities for crossing that Morris can get, if we're going to make the most and capitalise on it, I think we've got to be committing more into the box and really trying to convert these chances.
Just to quickly finish off, how much are you looking forward to the Celtic game?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm a little bit apprehensive just because the boys look really tired. And Celtic had the chance to freshen their players up again last midweek and at the weekend. But I mean, it's another sellout. We should be taking this for granted, should we? It's been great so far. Let's just hope we would give them a really good game and let's see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Andrew, fantastic as always. Thank you so much for coming on. And we're going to see you again on Thursday night as
Yeah,
we look
look
back on
forward to
Saturday.
it.
Thank you,
Cheers,
mate.
Ali.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you so much as always, Andrew. So this is what the manager had to say after the game. Sometimes we lost the rhythm and dynamic and gave away the ball in some situations, and they create momentum from that. And that's a thing we need to keep working on. When it's an intense game and we're not fully there, we can make small mistakes and that can offer momentum to Hearts. He finished off by saying, for us, our journey is still long term. We have a lot of things to improve on, and that's what we're trying to do every week. There we go. So hope you enjoyed that little piece of analysis from Andrew. Let's get you guys on now and see how you all are. See what your crack is tonight. Okay, so... Right, Kaiser came on first. How are we doing, Kaiser? He says, fit like everybody. I wish I had £1 for every time I've heard the sheep's bubbles burst over the last few days. Colin Gale, yeah, you're replying to Kaiser. He says, I think some opposition fans want us to fail more than the two Glasgow clubs. Can't be bothered, I said, you know what it is, though, in reply to Colin and to Kaiser, he says, I have seen very few Aberdeen fans rise to debating, unlike in previous seasons. So the trolls of the other clubs have had to be more persistent. Colin came back to say, if I'd been told before the new season that we would be second in the league and had only lost one league game, I would have told them they were bonkers. We have absolutely nothing to complain about, he says. Richie Mickey McMillan is on, wishing everybody a good evening. Scott Murray says, we've still only lost one game. It's not as bad as people make out. A draw on Wednesday is still okay. I tell you what, honestly, I would take a draw on Wednesday. Obviously, I want us to win, obviously, but I would take a draw. The Musical Boxer says, well, we've been hated since at least the early 80s, mostly by the gruesome twosome, but also by those who see themselves as our rivals. Can't be bothered, it's said. I'd like to see us try Toppy on the left, McGrath through the middle, and Shady Mo on the right. 37 London is suggesting that we're missing Majowski. David Swinton says, hi Ali, to be honest though, I thought it was a good point. We weren't far off a win. Jimmy will shake up the team for Wednesday again. Bring on the Celtic. Can't be bothered said, I thought we lacked pace down the left yesterday that Hearts defence would have struggled with. Toppy and Shady Mo running at them, and McGrath for me is always better through the middle. Gavin Wilson says, fit like, proud of the team and players, still only one loss in the league. Given we made 6 changes, I thought we did well enough. McGarry needs game time to develop his game play. Look, I thought he came in for a lot of undue stick. Yes, he had a slow start, but my God, the kid's not played for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. What do you expect? Do you expect him to hit the ground running immediately? It's not going to happen. He needs to bed himself in. And once he started to bed himself in, I thought he was very, very solid. It was just a shame he got injured and had to go off. But again, just leave them alone. Jeez, oh, give them peace. Andy B says, fair play to Angus and Yumi coming in without any real game time. Not easy. Exactly. Jerry Kennedy is here saying, fit like everybody. Suze is here saying, good evening, dandies. Always a hard fixture down there. Next, she says. Phil McLean is asking, any news when Pappy is back? Still don't know, mate. David Goldwally, Vids is here. Can't be bothered said, for me, Nisbet shouldn't be signed permanently. Must be better out there at a better price. Simon Roy says, good evening, Ali and fellow Reds. Good to see Angus play. Jamie as the game went on. Kaiser says, defending in our own box is the biggest problem. Somebody has to be clearing the decks for that Hearts equaliser. Cammy Fraser says, mate, you don't need to apologise. Jeez, oh, it's all about opinions, fella. You don't need to apologise. He says, apologies to you, Ali, and your predicted team news in the preview show. I suggested your formation and personnel was Bobbins, but you weren't far off the mark. It's a lucky guess, mate. Angela Hamilton is here. How are we doing, Angela? She says, personally, I was happy with the draw. It's still a point, considering how we played last season. It's a massive improvement. Yeah, John Kylo is saying the big news is how bad is Mitoff's injury. Gavin Wilson said the ref made some howlers yesterday. Simon Roy says, quite simply, if we was told we would be in this position at the start of the season, every single one of us would have taken it. Of course we would. Musical Box is suggesting, I thought it was as a poor performance as we've had under Jimmy T, barring the semi-final. Andrew McLeod said, hardest week of the season so far is now out of the way. Good in spells yesterday. Glad to be back at Pittodrie for the next 3 games. John Moore is here. Hi, dandies. Frustrating again. Passing was poor, leading us to dropping points. Angus did well. Hope Mitoff and Jack are back for Wednesday. It's a difficult team selection line-up against a roaring Celtic. Paul Hannon is here. How are we doing, Paul? He says, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Was a good game on Sunday, he said. Doug Smith says, Scott McDonald steadied central defence. McGarry improved as the match went on, and Doohan did himself proud. These guys all need game time. I'd still like to see Vinny given a run. Kirsten is in. How we doing? She says, hi, Ali and fellow dandies. Sorry, late to the party again. Shocking behaviour, Kirsten, really. Better late than never. Lewis Sutherland says, good evening, everyone. I bet the moaners on social media haven't been to a Dons game in years, if at all. Thank you, John. Right, we'll just take a wee break in the old chat because there's something I wanted to show you. And I'm not sure if you've seen this online, but I had to show you because I think it's absolutely brilliant. These are the offices of Gary Walker Wealth Management in the town. Look how he's decked out his offices. Don't you think? That's absolutely brilliant. I absolutely loved that. I loved that from Gary and his team. And when I saw it, I was like, right, I'm all over that for tonight's show. And Gary very kindly offered me the chance to put that video on tonight. So if you get a chance, check out Gary Walker Wealth Management. An absolutely fantastic top red. Brilliant company. We've got a busy few days ahead here on ABTV. Let's not forget, countdown to kickoff tomorrow night. We're coming back tomorrow for Aberdeen against Celtic. We're going to be joined by a very special guest. Then we're back on Thursday for the full-time review. Then on Friday for countdown to kick-off ahead of the St Johnstone game. And we shall review that game on Sunday evening because the kids are not with me. So that frees up my Sunday night. So we'll come back for the review show that evening. So very quickly, talking about the special guest. So on Wednesday, it will be the 20th anniversary of the very sad and tragic passing of our very own Hitcham Zero Ali, one of our cult heroes who, of course, wore the number 0 in a number of games for the Dons and was just an absolutely outstanding talent. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to be talking to ex-Dons winger Ben Thornley, who was great pals with Hitcham, and Ben and I are just going to reminisce about Ben's memories of Hitcham. So I'm really looking forward to chatting with Ben tomorrow and bringing that to you tomorrow night on Countdown to Kickoff. Let's get back to your thoughts. David Gold Rally Vids said, I think the negativity comes from being on such a high. It's like a drug. When that drug is taken away, there is a come down. That breeds this negativity. It's the drop in dopamine and adrenaline. Paul Hannon says, was fed up with Michael Stewart complaint about McGrath holding his head at times. God, he had surgery in his head. Was still a bit tender. Seriously. Exactly. Do your research. Graham Gibbs says, don't often disagree with you, but we will never have a better chance to get rid of Tynecastle's hoodoo. Shankland off form and back four by half-time was makeshift. Never pressurised them second half. Graham, I have absolutely no issues with you disagreeing with me whatsoever. You are more than welcome to come on and disagree. That's what it's all about. But I disagree with you disagreeing. No, I'm kidding. You make very good points. Gavin Wilson says, I felt Nisbet should have come on round about the 60th minute. Felt he'd be up for it against Hearts. Chris Clark says, good evening, dandies. At the end of the day, Tynecastle is always a hard place to go. Focus on the positives. Started better, scored first, defended well, and their goal was unlucky for us with the deflection. It was. John Moore says, thought Duke and Toppy haven't been great the last few games. Not sure what Vinny has to do to get some game time. Got a goal last time out. Why was he only on for a few minutes? I have to admit, I also think Duke and Toppy are struggling at the moment and that Vinny should be given an opportunity. David Gold says, our link-up between midfield and the final third was not great yesterday. Paul, I saw your message. Thank you, mate. The musical box says, we missed Mackenzie and McGarry, was so-so, and then ran out of steam early second half. John Grant says, good evening all. Looked decent in stages, but should have capitalised on Hearts' defence being shuffled. We were our own worst enemies with slack passing, but if we had so many changes, they needed game time. Kirsten came back to say, I too feel sorry for Esther as he works really hard for the team, trying to help create chances. Kaiser is suggesting that we should be playing Palaversa, Shinnie and Nielsen on Wednesday, a solid midfield three. Graham Gibbs says, also with poor use of Sokla, Hearts' defence is slow. They had a right back at centre back, criminal that we did not use the ball better. Charles Craig is here. How are we doing, Charles? He said, yesterday was the first time Yumi has been pragmatic in not putting on a forward, i.e. Nisbet. I think he was hoping to get more from the pace of Toppy, but could not get the ball to him. John Moore says, I was happy that Morris started, but like JT says, it's more open in the second half. For me, he's better to be an impact sub. Having said that, I doubt we would have got our goal without him in the first half. A couple of you are saying that you thought that Jack Milne was a bit lucky with his yellow card. I have to be honest. When I saw it in slow-mo, I was like, oh, that's a red. That's a red. But thankfully it wasn't. John Helmsley is here. Hi, John. He says, ref was very poor. Every 60-40 went Hearts' way. How Devlin, from their side, from the Jambos, wasn't booked, I just don't know. Musical Box says, never thought I would be saying this, but we're missing Pape. Kaiser has said, Toppy for me has been a bit of a letdown if I'm being honest. I think he'll come good, but I was expecting a bit more. To be fair, I think we all were. David Gold says, McGarry was okay for a guy who has barely kicked a ball. Kirsten came back to say, Vinny definitely deserves more game time. He has proven that when he comes on as a sub. One last gentle reminder, just one last wee thing to do tonight, and I need your help. So if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to press the old like button. It just helps with the old YouTube algorithm. Obviously, I'd be absolutely delighted if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. If you would just give that bell a wee push, that would be amazing, because we are edging closer to 4,100 subscribers now. So we're building every week, every month we're building, and it's going really, really well. So I'd be delighted if you jump on board. Don't forget the old membership scheme as well. Lots of benefits going on there. That's a small financial commitment, very small, but like you've seen here, with the changes that we've made with the channel, your financial commitment to me does make a huge difference. So if you would like to consider becoming a member, I would obviously be absolutely thrilled about that as well, because the plans are big. They are big. What was the other thing I was going to say? I was going to say something else. It's gone right out of my head. It couldn't have been that important. Right, guys, we've done nearly 27 minutes, so I'm going to call it a night. Thank you so much, as always, for jumping on. Thank you for leaving your comments, as always. Just let me check in quickly. Whoa, let's hang on a second, because there's a few more coming in. Yeah. Graham Gibbs says, Toppy's 21, living in a foreign country, looks very shy. He'll come good. Owen Colley says, definitely a few players looked off the pace with their lack of game time. Also think we look a little susceptible to the long ball at times. Yep, Kaiser says, Malloy was caught out with a long ball once again yesterday. Right, guys, that's us. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Press like, press subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for Countdown to Kickoff. Don't forget, we'll be joined by former Aberdeen winger Ben Thornley talking about Hitcham Zero Alley. Enjoy your night. Take care. Stand free.